Hello and good morning. I think we are in week 4 now, I want to say, for our weekly video. Um, Still making progress, so that's good. I have the whiteboard here, however, goal this week is to have some sort of digital representation of numbers. I will still be spouting them off in my terrible numeric fashion, but ideally there'll also be a visual representation of them. Let's see if I can pull that off. If I can't, I will get pushed back to next week as being my goal. But for right now, fingers crossed, I can do that. Right? Uh, so this week I did good on basically everything. I think I made progress on across the board on all of my metrics. So I'm very happy with that. Thing is that I'm happy with it after the fact. During the week, it was just a really stressful week for me. I had a job interview this week. Girlfriend's birthday was this week, and with the whole virus thing going on, my plans fell through for what I wanted to do for her. So mentally, I just haven't felt like I've made any progress this week. I felt stressed out and kind of drained the whole week long. So it's nice to come back and look at numbers and see that I did do well, even though I felt like I didn't do well the whole week. And even now, like looking at them and seeing everything, I still don't feel like I've made a ton of improvement this week. But sometimes you don't see everything. Sometimes it's, like I said, it's numbers. It's a grind. It takes time. So even if you're mentally not feeling it, physically I do feel better. I remember one time this week looking in the mirror and being like, hey, you don't look absolutely horrific. And that's a big accomplishment for me. I I have been taking progress pictures this whole time, so at some point I will share those. I'm not totally comfortable or there yet, but I do have ones from previous weeks and this week and moving forward and such. I'm just not there yet. So when I do get there, I promise I'll share them. Um, I'm just not comfortable with it yet. That being said, yeah, sometimes we're not always here. Sometimes we're not always here. But as long as you don't give up and you keep going, that's what's important. You're gonna mess up some days. Some days you're not gonna feel like you did enough or that you did anything. But as long as you keep with it and you do better more days than you do poorly, you're making progress. So I'm happy with that. Numbers wise, like I said, I did better all across the board. Now, my macro wise is kind of, like I said, I don't have much data for it. I only have last week's data and this week's data, so it's not a big comparison yet. Hopefully, they stay in line. They were they are harder in general to stick to, especially again, virus thing making grocery shopping and that sort of stuff more difficult. But I'm slowly understanding them a little bit better, and I like having more of that information. I know when I crave carbs a lot. I love me some bread, but it doesn't keep me full. And being able to see a number behind it and knowing how I feel helps me a lot crave stave off those cravings. Like, I really want Hawaiian bread or something like that. And I'm just like, that's it. It's gonna last you the time that it tastes good on your tongue, and then you're gonna want more of it, or you're gonna want something else because it doesn't fill you up down here. It just feels really good right up here, and that's okay sometimes. Sometimes that's what you need. But it's nice to know that before you actually take that action. And so counting these macros have helped me a lot with that. I'm still highest macro by far is still carbs. I am at 383 carbs this week, which is down 9 carbs from last week. So I did show a very marginal improvement, but an improvement nonetheless. It's still the bulk of my diet. I'm not really sure based on what I eat how to change that. I will have to look more into meals and cooking and what I can do to lower that number, or adjust what I eat. It's very hard to find something that congeals or is a base for a meal that's not a carb. And so it's just been a difficult one for me. But I'm still working on it, and I showed a little bit of improvement. Good on me. Fats, I was at 104 for the week, down 25, so that's a big chunk less fat. I think a lot of that comes down to, I talked about last week, drinking way too much sodas. I almost completely cut out sodas this week. I didn't have any issues with them whatsoever. I slowed down on sugars and stuff like that, and I think it helped a lot in the sense of fats. Protein this week I went up. I am at 134 this week, which is 15 points higher than last week. Again, that's awesome. It's still not where I want to be. I think I want to be around that 169 range for protein. But protein's another one that's a real struggle to get up there, especially being a vegetarian. So hopefully I can keep working on that. Again, it's a cooking thing. I really need to learn some tofu or tempeh or some sort of dish like that. I just haven't made my foray into that cooking yet. So any recipes I would appreciate, but I'm getting there a little bit, little by little. Calories were the big gainer over the week. I was at 2,960 calories, which is down 255 calories from the previous week. I think when I first started, my goal was to be around 2,500 or even 2,000 calories, and I think I was just way overly ambitious. It's the right place to be. It's where I need to be, but I don't need to be there right now, right this second. So this slower deterioration of calories over time is helping a lot with not feeling hungry. It's not like I'm starving myself for 3 days or 5 days and my stomach's completely empty. It's okay, I ate 3 falafel bowls instead of 4 falafel bowls, and going at it like that continually I think is making it so it's more sustainable for me overall. I don't feel drained. It's not like I'm craving calories at some point. Occasionally that does happen, and I go eat a yogurt or something like that. But overall, it's been going real well. Weight-wise, I'm down 1 pound, which is right on schedule. I'm down to 208 this week. That's my weekly average. I had a couple of days where I fluctuated under that, and a couple of days where I fluctuated over it. Again, averages are king. If I weighed in the middle of the week at 210, like it said, I probably would have eaten 700 pieces of cake and just been like, yep, nothing's working at all. But since I have that little average down there at the bottom that tells me, hey, yeah, you weighed in at 210 today, but overall you are still at 208 for the week, it kept me going. I was really happy with that. So I will try not to continue rambling, because this video is already, I think, much longer than I expected it to be. Hopefully it had numbers up in the video. If it didn't have numbers up in the video, I apologize. And I will work on getting them up next week. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll give you another update next week. Have a good one. Bye.